Picture this. You're at a strip club in North Jersey, scotch in your hand, topless dancer on stage. Then a man pulls into the parking lot, gets out of his car, and empties an entire pistol magazine into the SUV next to yours. You hear the shots through the wall. He walks inside, gun still in his hand, and starts screaming threats. You wait for the panic. You wait for someone to call 911. It doesn't happen. The other regulars get him restrained at the bar. The shouting stops. The music keeps playing. And here's the part that should bother you. Most of those patrons stayed for the rest of the night. Across 6 seasons of The Sopranos, the Bada Bing isn't a setting. It's a crime scene that just keeps reopening for business. Hello? Tony Soprano beats his bartender Georgie with the office phone for fumbling a call. He beats him a second time with a singing wallfish that reminds him of a dead friend. A third time with an ice tray over melted ice. A fourth time with the cash register drawer over a careless comment about terrorism.
But he's got some hearing loss, one ear.
By the end, Georgie has permanent hearing loss in one ear and quits. In season 3, Ralph Cifaretto beats his 20-year-old pregnant girlfriend Tracy, a Bing dancer, to death in the parking lot just outside the building. In season 5, a drunk Christopher Moltisanti pulls into that same parking lot, empties his pistol into Tony's burgundy Suburban, and walks into the club, brandishing the empty gun. In season 6, Paulie Walnuts hallucinates the Virgin Mary on the dancer's stage. And yet, every single episode, the Bing is full. Patrons drinking, patrons watching, patrons staying. So I want to ask the question the show itself never bothers to answer. Who, in their right mind, would willingly walk into the Bada Bing? Because once you start really looking, the answer reveals something about The Sopranos that most viewers never quite catch. Let's start with something most viewers don't realize. The Bing, as depicted on the show, could not legally exist in the real state of New Jersey. Not in 1999, not today, not in any year. Here's the law. New Jersey's alcohol regulations are codified under NJAC 13223.6, which prohibits any lewd or immoral activity on liquor licensed premises. And under decades of case law and Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control enforcement, exposed breasts in a venue that pours liquor count as lewd activity. We know this because the Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control has enforced this rule for decades. In one well-documented 1985 case, G and JK Enterprises versus the Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control, a club in South Amboy was hit with a 120-day liquor license suspension after dancers performed topless on its licensed premises, including one incident where they wore only G-strings. Topless in a licensed bar. License suspended. The court upheld it. So in the real world of New Jersey, your strip club has 2 options. Either it's a go-go bar with partial clothing, bikinis, lingerie, partial cover at most, and it serves alcohol, or it's a fully topless or nude juice bar with no liquor license, where customers can BYOB, but the venue can't sell a single drink. There is no third option. Now look at the Bada Bing. Topless dancers, full liquor license. Tony orders scotch at the bar. The crew drinks all night. In the real-world version of this business, the New Jersey ABC division would have shut it down within a single inspection. The fictional Bing, as depicted, is a creative fiction, not a documentary of any real venue. And here's the part that matters. David Chase knew this. He films at a real go-go bar, Satin Dolls, on Route 17 in Lodi. But Satin Dolls in real life is a bikini bar. The dancers there wear tops. The Bing's dancers don't. That's not an oversight. That's a deliberate creative choice by Chase to make the Bing more dangerous, more transgressive, more fictional. So when we ask who would go to the Bing, the first honest answer is nobody, because places like the Bing don't exist in real New Jersey, which means we're not really asking a question about a strip club. We're asking a question about a stage set. And once you accept that, the question changes. We're no longer asking who would patronize a place like the Bing. We're asking what Chase needed the Bing to be. Once you stop expecting the Bing to make sense as a strip club, the next question is what it actually is. And if you know what real strip clubs look like, the answer is right there on screen. Real strip clubs are aggressive businesses. There's a DJ. He announces every dancer by name when she takes the stage. The music is loud, not just for atmosphere. There's usually a second, smaller stage closer to the customers, where dancers move after their main set to upsell private dances. Girls don't stand around. Every minute on the floor is a minute they're losing money, because in most clubs, dancers actually pay the house a stage fee just to work a shift. Now look at the Bing. No announcer, no second stage, no real DJ. Music at conversation volume. Dancers leaning against the bar with their arms crossed. No upsell pipeline. No urgency to the room. The reason is simple. The Bing isn't a strip club. The Bing is a money laundering front, with strippers as set dressing. We know this because the show tells us so, repeatedly. Tony's office is in the back. The DeMeo crime family conducts business at the bar.
You want in the VIP room? It's $50 to me.
The episode University makes it explicit that Georgie controls VIP room access. He charges his own dancers $50 and oral sex just to let them work the back, where they earn at least $500 doing prostitution. That is not a strip club running a few side hustles. That is a criminal operation with a dance floor on top of it for cover.
Like Jenko olive oil.
It's the same trick the Corleones ran with Genco olive oil, a real business with real signage that mostly exists so the actual business can hide behind it. And there's a real world echo here that's almost too on the nose. In December 2017, the New Jersey Attorney General actually shut down Satin Dolls, the real-life filming location of the Bing, for exactly this. The state alleged the owner, Anthony Tony Lodi Cardinale, had Genovese crime family ties and had pleaded guilty to a 2013 racketeering conspiracy. The clubs, regulators said, had failed to account for large amounts of cash flowing in and out of the businesses, and were facing pending charges of solicitation of prostitution and lewd activity. Life imitating art, almost word for word. Once you understand the Bing as a money laundering front, the entire venue starts to make sense. The chaos isn't bad for business. There is no business. At least, not the one you think you're watching. But this still leaves the central question half answered. If the Bing is a fictional money laundering front, who's filling those seats? And the show answers this, quietly, scene after scene. People go to the Bing because it's the Bing, because the rumors are true, because somewhere in that building is a man with a violent temper, and seeing him in person feels like brushing up against a different reality.
Technology comes to the Bing.
There's a specific kind of customer who doesn't go to a place despite the danger. They go because of it. We do this everywhere. Professional wrestling sells out arenas based on the same instinct, paying premium money to sit close to controlled violence, knowing you can leave whenever you want. Boxing matches, underground poker rooms, certain neighborhoods, certain bars, certain clubs in cities where the management is, let's say, connected. There is an audience for proximity. Proximity to power, proximity to violence, proximity to a world that operates by different rules. And critically, proximity without participation. The patron at the Bing gets to tell the story for the rest of his life. Yeah, I was there the night Christopher fired off rounds in the parking lot. Yeah, I saw Tony Soprano in person once. Real quiet guy. That story is the product. The dancers, the drinks, the watered down scotch, those are just the cover charge. What he's actually paying for is a ticket to the edge of a world he'd never survive in. The Bing isn't selling sex. It's selling a souvenir from a war he gets to walk away from. There's one more piece, and modern viewers miss it constantly. The Bing operated, on screen, between January 1999 and June 2007. Yelp wasn't founded until October 2004, and even after that, it took years to reach mainstream usage, and didn't really hit critical mass until the smartphone era. There was no Google Reviews infrastructure that anyone used for this kind of business. There was no phone in your pocket, recording Tony beating Georgie with a cash register to be uploaded by morning. If a patron saw something genuinely disturbing, they had three options. Tell their wife and explain why they were at a strip club, tell their friends and admit they were at a strip club, or tell no one. Most chose option 3. The information ecosystem that would have crushed a place like the Bing in 72 hours simply did not exist yet. Bad word of mouth had to travel by actual mouth. And the kind of guy who frequents the Bada Bing isn't talking to the kind of guy who would care. The crooked cops on the payroll knew, the feds were watching from across the parking lot, but the regular drinking public knew nothing, because nobody had built the megaphone yet. It would take another decade for them to find out. And this is where The Sopranos pulls off its quietest, most elegant move. The question, who would willingly walk into the Bada Bing, is the same question the show secretly asks of you. Why are we watching this? Why have millions of people willingly spent hours of their lives in the company of a man who suffocates his own nephew, who strangles a captain in his own kitchen, who shoots his cousin in the face with a shotgun? We tell ourselves it's the writing, the performances, the storytelling, all true. But sit with the deeper answer. We come for the same reason the patrons come.
Welcome to Tracy.
proximity to power, proximity to violence, a drink in our hand, and someone else getting hit with the cash register. The Bing is the Sopranos in miniature, a theater of controlled chaos, where the audience pays the cover charge to feel close to a world they would never survive in for 30 seconds. Every time the camera lingers on an unnamed patron in the Bing, drinking calmly while a man bleeds on the floor, Chase is putting a mirror in front of you. They are not stupid. They are not desperate. They are doing exactly what you're doing. On the other side of the screen. The show is the Bing. We are the patrons. And the genius of it is that the show never makes you feel bad about it. It just makes sure you notice. That's why The Sopranos endures. Not because it indicted the mob, but because it indicted us. Gently, smiling, refilling our glass, for wanting to watch. So next time you watch the Bing, watch the patrons. Watch them not flinch. Watch them order another drink while Georgie gets pulverized 20 feet away. They're not stupid. They're not desperate. They're you. And that's the joke David Chase told for 6 seasons, and most people never quite caught it. Now I want to know, what's the most underrated Bing scene? Not the famous beatings. The one nobody talks about, but should. Drop it in the comments. Bye for now.